So NeoGaf is burning to the ground as we speak, and that is because of an accusation that was made against CEO Malka Tyler. Got my notes. He's known as Evil Lore on NeoGaf, and ever since this person came out with their story, their hashtag #MeToo, all the administrators and moderators on NeoGaf kind of abandoned ship. Now, what is NeoGaf? In case you don't know, it's a place for people in the games industry to go and discuss games. That's like the very simplified version of what it is. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to read to you the accusation, and then we'll discuss it. I remember a man who claimed to be my friend, going on a road trip to New Orleans. In NOLA, we drank and had fun, and one night we had been drinking in our hotel room and I got sick. I was throwing up and decided to hop in the shower to feel better. I was surprised when he got in the shower, fully naked behind me. I had a boyfriend at the time and didn't think that I had given any reason for him to believe I wanted this. I don't cheat. So I told him that it wasn't okay, that I was sick, that I had a boyfriend, that I didn't want that. I couldn't wait to get home. I couldn't tell my partner for fear that he would claim I led him on. My relationship with my boyfriend suffered and we broke up soon after. I couldn't come out about this situation because the perpetrator is a semi-famous man who would have retaliated and I couldn't afford to defend myself. There are websites dedicated to this person's sexual assault history. I didn't know. I was scared. I was tired. I still can't post his name out of fear. Fear for a film he acted in for me. Fear of ridicule, fear of not being believed. I don't want to be silent anymore. I will post stories until I don't feel like it anymore. There are so many. Also, street harassment count for the day so far is 4. And I only walk 2 blocks from where my ride dropped me off to where I work. Let that sink in. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room before we hit the nitty-gritty details. If this is indeed true, there's no walking away from this for him. It's an extremely horrible thing for another human being to do, for a fucking man to do. Any form of sexual assault towards a woman. It's uncalled for, completely. In this given situation, I can understand why, with this whole Me Too, hashtag Me Too thing going on about that originated from Harvey Winestine and all that shit. It makes perfect sense now more than ever as we get a glimpse into the reason why people don't come forward. And I say people because it's not just a woman thing, it's anyone. When anyone has something like this happen to them too, it makes sense why. There's so much that they don't want to risk. There's so much opportunity that they feel that they could either be barred from, or, in this situation, retaliation. Now, especially when someone is really successful, success itself comes with a level of power, and they can use that power, obviously, to, as she says, defend themselves. So, if she were to say something earlier, and worst case scenario, let's say that, he retaliated for libel or slander. Well, in that situation, she's kind of fucked, because she needs some sort of proof. But now, in this world that we live in, you don't really need proof. And this is where my grievance comes from. My heart goes out to the victims because I know it is an actual thing, and I applaud those that come forward because it does take a lot of strength. The issue that I'm having is with today's society is proof is not needed. Accusation, that's what it is. It's like if you accuse someone, then they're automatically guilty. Now, I'm not defending Malka by any means. He does have a history of these types of things, and hell, he's bragged about it in the past. He's open about the type of man that he is, which is really fucked up. But the problem that I'm having, when you make an accusation, therefore you bear the burden of proof. It's a weird fence for me to be on, as much as I sympathize, and as much as I believe, like, hey, I want to believe her. Of course, I want to believe her, but I am skeptical when it comes to these things. There's so many times where men are put into a situation where someone claims that we did something, but we didn't. And because we cannot prove that we didn't, it automatically makes us guilty. The people that accuse, that's all they have to do. They just have to say that you did something. Doesn't matter if you did or didn't, but the fact that you were accused of doing a certain act, that makes you guilty. But at the same time, it is extremely hard to prove something like this. When you have two people alone in a room together and something happens, now he didn't touch her, he didn't beat her, he didn't penetrate her or anything like that, but something happened. Something uncalled for happened. Even if she were immediately, to go out and, try to contact someone and say, hey, this happened, I'm really uncomfortable. Where's the proof then? You don't have any. So even from the very beginning, she was put into a very difficult position. There's no way for her to prove what happened. All she has is her story. And that is why this whole hashtag MeToo thing is it's such a big deal right now. These people that are doing this hashtag MeToo thing, that's all that they can do, is they can only tell their story. And this is where it's so difficult for me. Like I said, I sympathize as much as I possibly can. But without proof, can I honestly say that I 100% believe a lot of these stories? And that's where it's really fucked up, because I believe this because he's shown examples of it in the past. Now, I will say that that's not proof. So let's say, if I were on a jury, for example, and this was all that was presented to me, you got one argument over another, unless there's something to break that divide, if there's something to tell me, hey, here's some infallible proof, or here is something that can resemble some sort of proof, like here's a text message he sent, or anything that would allude to pushing me over to this side of the story, kind of, bringing me to that side of the argument. Outside of any kind of trial court by law type thing, yeah, I believe this person, but I can't believe this person without proof. 100% wholeheartedly. I remain skeptical. And just saying that alone makes me a fucking monster in today's society. That's why I bring these stories up, because the way that our society is now, it's so fucked beyond belief. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't believe these people, but, listen to their stories. Take it with a grain of salt. For all I know, this could be utter bullshit. I don't believe that it's utter bullshit, but I am still skeptical. Now, the whole Harvey Winestine thing, I kind of believe that a lot more. Because why? Why am I conditioned in such a way to believe that more than believe this story? Is it because of all of these people coming forward over the span of fucking years? That might have something to do with it. It definitely might have something to do with it when there are so many. But once again, I'm given this. I really should believe this without a doubt. But even with the Harvey Winestine thing, we had proof. It wasn't just stories that we heard with Harvey Winestine. We had proof. There was recordings done with him. We had proof with Harvey Winestine. And that is what brings me over to the big conclusion of it all. Proof is very, very heavy. Proof weighs a lot. I am not a fan of SJWs. I am not a fan of fucking feminazis. What I am a big fan of is, humanity. And as fucked up as humanity can be, there are certain things that we should gravitate towards. This type of shit is irrepressible. It's fucking horrible. But it exists. And the longer that we go, when people bring their stories forward, when we ridicule them or just ignore them, then All we're doing is taking the other side and saying, hey, go for it. Do whatever you want, because when people tell their stories, no one cares. Obviously, we care. Now, I haven't been in a position where I can empathize, but I can sympathize with their issues. It is sad. The whole thing is fucking sad. Now, what can happen from this now? What's going to happen in NeoGaf? Well, in its current state, NeoGaf is fucked. Sooner or later, though, one of two things will happen. Either someone else will take control of NeoGaf, and NeoGaf as itself will then move on and thrive, just without Malkat, whatever his name is. That's basically what's going to happen. Or, if it stays attached to him as a CEO, as long as his name is attached to NeoGaf, then the fucking website is fucked. The website and the community has all gone down the shitter. Because if you're a part of that community, you are then associated with him. And if you're associated with someone that was accused of something, that then makes you guilty of, being an associate of someone that does shit like this. We live in a fucking really messy world, to say the least. But hearing a lot of these Me Too stories, even from close friends of mine and acquaintances of mine, and just, it's really fucked to think that people can be like this. I mean, obviously, I can. There's more things about this that I could talk to, but I wanted to stick to the point at hand. And the first thing that comes to mind is, like I said, is proof. Harvey Weinstein's a piece of shit that should burn in hell. Malka, historically, he's a piece of shit. Even with this story, makes me think he's more of a piece of shit. It's so stupid. It's so stupid to think that just because of my opinion, that just because I feel this way about this conversation at hand, is going to label me as being some type of evil. Just because I'm, well, where's the proof? Just saying that. And I keep saying that for a fucking reason. That's the world we live in today. It's MaceValor signing off.